Welcome to the 2025 Synchronized Swimming Season and the 2025 Online Rules module. My name is Jason Nickleby. I'm an Assistant Director with the League and the Director of the Officiating Program. I will be narrating the first and last portions of this module. We will now cover some general and synchronized swimming specific information before moving on to the figure changes and other items of information for 2025. There is some editorial changes with the rules book, but not many. There's points of emphasis as is typical, and then we'll review some administrative reminders before concluding this module. We have added the concept of a pre-contest administrative and medical timeout during the 2024-2025 school year. This meeting will take place approximately 10 minutes before the contest begins and will hopefully be led by a site administrator. The meeting will cover sportsmanship, what to do with a challenging situation such as an unruly spectator or other disruption, as well as medical emergency planning. We hope this meeting will get administrators, coaches, and officials on the same page going into their respective contest. As a reminder, if a coach, parent, or other concerned party has an eligibility question such as chemical or behavior issues, should direct those questions to the activities director. Even if a synchronized swimmer is ineligible, the officials are not to rule on such matters and all inquiries should be directed to the activities director of the school involved. Even in situations where the AD brings this to the attention of the officials, the activities directors are responsible for handling these situations, and officials do not get involved in alleged bylaw violations.
We will now cover rule changes and rule reminders for the upcoming season. The rules governing the season are the supplemental rules provided by the High School League, as well as the figure section of the 2021 USAAS Rulebook. Bring both with you to every meet you officiate. Alternates will not need to be named until they will be used in any given routine. While a competitor does not need to be listed as an alternate in order to swim any routine, if the alternate swims, the event shall be counted as one of the 3 permitted for that competitor. The official uniform for competitions is now a black top and black bottoms. The 4 figures for figure competition are kip, barracuda, water drop, and walkover front. Exceptions to the no jewelry rule for both figure and routine competitions include studs, medical alert, and religious medals.
Rule change number 6 under methods of scoring. For both figure competition and routine competition, the results will become final 24 hours after the home meet coach sends the away coach with the meet results spreadsheet. The next few slides talk about referee penalties. So first, in the figure competition, the 1-point penalty is no longer given for adding a twist or an open rotation or a spin. This slide talks about the routine penalties during routine competition. Half-point penalties have been eliminated. Please review the 1-point penalties. Next, we're reviewing the 2-point penalties for routines. 2-point penalties shall be deducted from the routine score if, during deck movements in a routine, competitors are executing stacks, towers, or human pyramids. A competitor has deliberate contact with the pool deck during the routine, or a competitor competes out of the order of the draw, except for unusual circumstances, as determined by the referee.
Officials should confirm their eligibility by presenting a valid copy of their State High School League credentials from their arbiter profile page.
This is a reminder of the duties of the meet manager. One of those duties is to verify that all officials are eligible and meet the high school league requirements by seeing a valid copy of the MSHSL credentials for synchronized swimming from their arbiter profile page.
Let's look at figure rules. For those who also judge USA Artistic Swimming, this is now their current language for design and control. And for this high school season, we are using the USA Artistic Swimming 2021 figure rules. Unless otherwise specified in the descriptions, for design, figures should be executed with each transition clearly defined in pattern and body position. And for control, figures should be executed high, controlled, and in uniform motion and tempo. For figure execution, only the transitions for which exceptional tempos are defined shall be performed at those specified tempos. All other transitions continue at the normal uniform tempo. Design is the accuracy of positions and transitions. One example would be pike versus over pike or under pike within the tower or walkover. Another example would be the accuracy of the 90-degree angles in the ballet leg figure. Control considers extension, height, stability, clarity, and uniform motion or execution of the tempo indicated. When judging extension under control, we would expect the legs, feet, torso, and neck to be fully extended, unless otherwise specified. Unless specified, all figures are executed in a stationary position. Also under control, water level and lines should remain constant unless otherwise specified. Maximum height is always desirable unless otherwise indicated, and extraneous movements should be minimal. This section will review the rule changes for routines. We have adopted the USA Artistic Swimming Scoring System. Each routine will receive 3 scores, a score for execution, artistic impression, and for difficulty. Let's take a look at each one of these. Execution judges will evaluate the execution and synchronization of all skills and movements within a routine and shall award 1 score. Artistic impression judges shall award 1 score, factoring in choreography, music interpretation, and manner of presentation. Difficulty judges shall award 1 score for difficulty. Difficulty is considered the quality of being hard to achieve and the difficulty of all movements and synchronization. This slide shows a breakout of each score. Notice the execution breakout for routines. For solos, execution is 90%, while synchronization is 10%. And in the duet, trio, and team, execution is 50% and synchronization 50% of the total execution score. You can see it's 100% for both solo, duet, trio, team in artistic impression and difficulty. Next are points of emphasis for figures. When judging figures, you should know the most difficult part of each figure. The Pheno weight chart is a great tool to understand the difficulty of each transition and position within a figure. An example of the Pheno weight chart will follow. It will provide figure illustrations, the numerical difficulty value, and the proportional value. This slide shows different values for each transition in Barracuda. The NVT, or the numerical difficulty value, of the first transition from back layout to back pike is valued at 7. Back pike to vertical is 31, and the vertical descent is 13. Another way to look at it is the proportional value, the PV of the transition, is the amount which may be awarded for the figure out of the 10 maximum points. So in this case, the maximum amount that could be given from the transition from the back pike to the vertical and the vertical descent would be 8.63. And from the back layout to back pike would be a maximum of 1.37. The most difficult portion of this figure is from back pike to vertical. The 3 positions in the kip are back layout, tuck position, and vertical position. This slide shows different values for each transition in kip. The most difficult portion of this figure is from the back tuck to vertical. This slide provides the description for the water drop figure. The positions are front layout, surface front pike, bent knee vertical, and vertical. This chart provides the transitions within the water drop. From front layout to front pike, it's valued at 6. The transition from front pike to bent knee vertical is 15. The transition from bent knee vertical to vertical, which includes the descending 180 spin, is also valued at 15. Another way to look at it would be using the PV. From front layout to front pike, a maximum of 1.67 could be given. And from front pike to bent knee vertical, a maximum of 4.17. And then from bent knee vertical to vertical with the descending 180 spin is a max of 4.17.
A good reminder in judging is to spread the range of scores. With over 250 synchronized swimmers, it is not very likely that they will all fall in the 5.0 to 5.9 range. And while the ultimate goal may be to get the correct ranking for all swimmers, even with 40 plus swimmers, that may be impossible. So here are some manageable officiating goals. First, place the figure in the correct category, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, and so on. Next, even place them more specifically within that category, low, mid, or high. And third, the goal for the panel may be to be within 3/10 of each other. And what should you do if you blow a score? Let it go and move on. Don't penalize other swimmers by your mistake, and don't box yourself in. Give yourself grace, and remember that the panel works together to provide the swimmer with a score. Points of emphasis for routines.
Scoring for routines is 30% execution, 40% artistic impression, and 30% difficulty. And there's a breakdown on this next slide that will review that. Review the penalty changes for this year, and also remember that judging always begins from the standpoint of perfection.
This is another slide of the breakdown of scoring for routines. When judging routine difficulty, you need to look at all aspects of difficulty. Develop an effective tracking system for all the elements. Some examples of difficulty might be double arm egg beater, the amount of time underwater, a variety of lifts or throws, the variety of positions, spins, speed, traveling at angles, the number of formations, the distance of travel, and what they have done while they were traveling, blind changes, and complex hybrids. Additional points of emphasis. If there is going to be a discussion following figures, we are asking the officials to help provide feedback to coaches and swimmers by inviting a coach from each team to be present during the discussions following figures. Sometimes there is not a coach from each team on a panel, so the coaches may never hear feedback necessary for their athletes. But your knowledge and feedback helps to improve the sport. Some differences to be aware of from the dual meet season to sections and state. First, routine time limits. There are no formal categories during the dual meet season, therefore only the times listed in the supplemental rules needed to be noted. During the section and state meets, you will need to know the maximums for short, long, and extended divisions. Also, the dual meet may have JV and varsity. Sections and state has short, long, and extended. Dual meet season officials are required to complete the rules interpretation meeting online and pass the online test. There are specific qualifications to be eligible to judge sections and state, including attendance at a mini clinic each year. So if you're a new official, you will want to look at those guidelines in the official's manual and plan some mentoring sessions this season.
Remember that in a figure, a 1-point penalty would apply if, in the opinion of the panel referee, the swimmer performed an incorrect sequence or sequence other than described in the handbook of the listed figure. An incorrect sequence would include an added twist or spin.
The referee will need to make use of the failed figure penalty if the swimmer does not perform the correct figure after 2 attempts.
Here's a reminder about registration. In addition to your registration with the high school league, officials also need to register with the Officials Association to be scheduled for dual meets. Check out the Officials Association website for additional information about registration and requirements. Remember in all circumstances that you represent a professional group, the Officials of Minnesota High School Synchronized Swimming. How you handle yourself may be modeled by others. You aren't just providing scores to the athletes. Your actions should be aligned with the High School League Code of Ethics.
Hi, this is Jason. I'm back to cover a few administrative reminders before concluding this module. Coaches and judges must be aware of the rules and policies for your sport. This information is located on the coach's dashboard and on the Arbiter Central Hub. Additionally, event cue sheets can be found on the dashboard and the Central Hub. Rules and policies typically covers administrative issues for the schools to govern their program, and the officials don't have much to do with it, but just be aware that those pieces are there. Anything that's in the rules book, the officials will deal with. Anything in administrative rules and policy documents will be governed by the schools. NFHS online learning courses are available at the NFHS Learning Center at nfhslearn.com. This platform provides professional development for coaches, officials, administrators, parents, and students. There are over 90 courses on this site, 60 of which are free. Again, go to nfhslearn.com to learn more. The state coordinator for synchronized swimming judges is Linda Gust. Linda is your first point of contact for rule interpretations or questions about officiating. This information is available on the coach's dashboard and on the Arbiter Central Hub page.